Okay, and Tim, if you could unmute yourself. Okay, thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. Just trying to... I'm looking. My first experience online conferencing, so please forgive me if I'm doing something stupid or wrong. Okay, first of all, you can just call me Tim. This has been my teaching career. I think this is the 17th year in the same college. I'm from the south of Taiwan, and I teach at the public college, but we are in a technological system. So it's more like not so much like the traditional college. We have students who are pretty much more talented in certain skills. So roughly, this is a course that I taught 2 semesters ago. So I will try to share as much as I could so that I call it, it's more like a co-design. And actually, I have a lot of what should I say, hesitations. The longer that I've been teaching this course, and then the less confident that I feel. So if you have any other ideas, comments, please let me know. Roughly, we are in a 4-year undergraduate system, and the funny thing is that not too many teachers have the real experience at job market. So I am one of the 3. So these passing 2 years, the government in Taiwan has been trying to promote some kind of like a more of teaching-oriented channel for teachers to do our promotion. So this is the second year that everybody can apply for the funding. And I actually had the chance to try the second year, but a lot of ups and downs. So roughly, I will just take you through this course that I actually taught. So I was calling it action research. I actually have one graduate who was formerly my student, and he came back to help me throughout this one. That's why I set the topic co-designing, okay? And the basic routines that we will cover, and I'll probably just go quickly. Probably this is more like a course that my students have a lot of these satisfactions about. So, and also as a teacher, I also feel quite unhappy because this is a college. We try to simulate as many contexts as close to the real world, especially job market. So they do have good TOEIC scores. Most of them, we have the benchmark for graduation, which is 750. But typically they talk naturally, but once they come into the business context, they are really bad. Or like yesterday, we had a presentation contest, all in English. 25 universities in Taiwan came to our university to do the contest. But still, if you are having them in the classroom with presentations, always try and not so fun to watch. So how can I help? Okay, and also we wanted to simulate all the real job or authentic business situations. Okay, so this is some research that I dug in. Teacher from Finland actually say communication skills are probably earlier. Okay, or we encounter people daily basis. You see people all the time. You talk to them mostly. You don't really write them before you talk to them. And another graduate student in America actually did the same survey in Saudi Arabia. So pretty much the same thing. And he also pointed out whole person coaching. This is a new term I just realized. It's not like you just teach everything on your own. You actually have to have some kind of industry specialists. That's what I call it. I invited people who have been in the job market for 10 years. They came back and show our students what's really going on, what is really going on. So same thing, 2 scholars in Taiwan did some sort of research, and they actually did pretty much the same thing. Okay, and identifying that spoken skills are not that being studied. Okay, so there's a demand. And the 4 research questions actually just lay out. First one is more like designing the course. Second one, I actually had 10 activities in the autobiography. Not the abstract actually just put 9. So roughly, I will try to walk you through one by one later. Okay, number 3, of course, what do I learn? And number 4, the direction for the future similar courses in Taiwan. So this is the procedure. It's an elective course, so wasn't too popular. Typically, we have like 20 to 30 students. I only get 13. Okay, and it's really painful from the beginning to the beginning to the real beginning of the class. People came and go because they knew this is going to be a research-based. They will be doing a lot of work together. 3 hours a week, and we have 4 industry specialists and 2 field trips. Okay, actually, I took them running around in Taiwan. Okay, a very painful course, I would say so. So roughly, this is the beginning to the middle. For the first field trip, I took them to a sportswear company in Kaohsiung, and the 13 students actually went there in a whole daytime, and they did interview, impromptu presentation, and the human resource manager just came out and tell one student, I'm going to take you. So it's quite scary. I have to say so. Okay? Even for me, it's too much to handle. And then I planned telling everybody that after week 9, midterm week, there will be more like a hired in the company. So we will do a lot of group work together. So I put in design thinking, also had a lot of mock meetings, having everybody simulated and playing roles. And lastly, one industry specialist, okay, my former student actually came back to simulate another situation for them. So we have 3 groups of students dividing the 13 people, and then they form special groups and trying to accomplish a case study. It's more like they are going to do a presentation to win the bid from the graduates bicycle company. So I took them first time also in my university. I took them to ride Shinkansen in Taiwan. We spent 2 hours going to the north, visiting the company, giving the presentations, and my former students chose the best team who will win the bid. So this is the biggest field trip we did, and it's almost like the final. So if you see these metrics, I have all the 4 research instruments and the 4 research questions all together, just giving an overview. So the findings. Okay, we run a 5-point Likert scale. Okay, so this is the score the students gave me. Okay, I have quantitative data. I will also show some qualitative data. Amazingly, this is a really high satisfaction rate, but I have a lot of sad stories, and I feel quite demanding running this course. I told everybody it was a 3-hour course, but actually I think I spent like 6 to 8 hours every week coordinating everything, inviting, calling people to come in. Okay, so 3 very qualitative answers relating to effectiveness, which is question number 1. The 2 real experience are wonderful. Okay, so one interview at the Carson Sportswear, and the other one is BIZCOM. It's a bicycle company, where I just told you I took students there to do presentation contest. Okay, and then specialists from the industry, and students also find that it's really helpful. They actually have a chance to use language in a real context. So this is the breakdown of the 10 activities I do. They love, I also follow a 5-point Likert scale. So 4.92 is the one they love most. Okay, resume, and they did interview and case study and product pitch. Product pitch is more like an individual presentation, which we did before we went for the interview, number 3. Okay, and everything else is more like a secondary, okay? The group interview and self-introduction, audio, video, okay? And the 2 activities they dislike most, okay, or something they can say they hate most is probably meetings, okay? And I also find myself not really good with meetings. And elevator speech was also pretty funny. It's actually an idea I took from design thinking. And normally, I think it's being practiced a lot in America, especially in American kind of job market. Okay, don't get offended, okay, because one time I also gave a workshop in Thailand, okay, and mostly the audience are European scholars and professors, and they were so mad with this kind of elevator speech. So obviously I'm not good. I actually took students into an elevator. We rode the elevator for one way up or one way down. Each one of them has to do a self-introduction for like 30 to 40 seconds. This is simply just crazy, okay? So the four students, actually, they are the first three on the left-hand side are my former students. So they are either from the uh, air flight company or the bicycle, or the last one is from the cars, okay, the sportswear HR manager. And research three is how I actually grew, okay. I think eventually when I started teaching here, I didn't really feel that strong. And right now it's been like a 16, 17 years. I think if I'm teaching seniors who are leaving, entering the job market, teachers all of a sudden are playing the bridge, okay, kind of linking the industry with the students. And the 18-week semester, I actually taught with four other specialists. So it's not just me doing all the work. And then re-evaluating, redesigning. I think even with this, the time that I've been teaching for so long, I'm still trying to change everything. And lastly, which is something I say is physically very demanding. It's not very conventional. I'm out of the classroom most of the time. Okay, if I wanted to say something for the industry and maybe for the audience, every one of you who is in here, what would I say if we are going to do the same course again? Okay, I need a lot of specialists, okay, the people from the industry. And of course, it's a course that I'm not teaching inside the classroom, beyond the classroom. And nowadays, same thing. Okay, our students in this university setting are not very academic. They are not be able to pay attention for such a long time. So they need to do a lot of hands-on experience. Okay. And lastly, I would say even for the teachers, we will probably have to spend some time in the industry. Okay. And the bottom one will be pretty much funny. I don't know if you will agree making this one required. There are about 110 students, okay, among my senior level, but only every time if we are offering an elective course like this one, which is quite demanding, I only get like a 10, 11, or 12, okay? And of course, I need money, okay? With this one, the funding that I had was almost 1 million Japanese yen, okay? Yakuman, okay? And then lastly, this is the end of everything. I just wanted to keep some time so we can do some Q&A. You are looking at all the students, um, their real photos. So that's the one that we took when I took them to the interview. And you will see this is English major. So there's only one boy in the background and everybody else is female. So very difficult course. And I don't want to end everything at least one point, but I will just share my true feelings with everybody. I've been teaching this course for as long as I can remember, maybe 5, 6 years for the past, okay, every spring semester. And after I had the funding, I did the whole thing. It's a very systematic presentation, systematic study, and I feel very hesitating. So right now I start teaching this course, which is probably not so encouraging because I know if I had all the resources, I would be able to do so much. And right now I probably don't have the funding, and I don't think I have enough time and energy to run the same course again. Okay, thank you. I will simply just stop here and then taking your questions. I will try to answer as much as I can.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. I guess if you would care to stop the screen share and we can come back to the main session, and yeah, I could have a round of applause. Thank you very much. That was really interesting. I'm not in business per se. I'm in second language teaching, but there are some things, connecting with the field is something definitely I need to do with my students as well. That was really good. So okay, so I'd like to open the floor for questions. If you're interested in asking a question, you can, I guess, just turn your camera off and unmute yourself, and we'll go from there. So any questions? Or you can enter in the chat. I can read those as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tim. That was excellent. Really, really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I know you as a person, so I know how intensive that must have been.
Yes.
So if you're not going to do this again, what advice would you give someone if you're going to cut items out? Because so much of what you're doing is important, but to do the same scale probably is difficult. If you're the to know, what would you cut out?
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Wonderful question, and get me to think even more now. For as long as I can remember the past few years, I worked in the industry for a few years before I started entering the academic world. I just don't like to see teachers using textbook. Okay, I'm not saying not using it. It's probably just using it for a few weeks, partially of your course. The thing that I have most difficulty with is that I feel like everything we do, especially if you are doing the business kind of course, everything we do inside the classroom is not so authentic. Maybe I'm pushing myself a little bit too much, and I don't like simulated meetings. You know the word simulated. And I was actually calling a lot of students who formerly graduated, asking them if I can take my current students into their meetings, and everybody say you are out of your mind. There's no way they will let strangers, the rookies, coming into their meetings. So no matter how hard I try to do, okay, inside the classroom, I still feel like it's so unreal. That's a reason why I try to put in the speakers. Okay, I have like 4 talks all the time. They are all students from us. So 100% first-hand information. So what would I do? I would probably just tell everybody in the future if they could probably step out the classroom and maybe do something on the site. Okay, but currently, even though I'm not teaching the course is still being offered. And I just feel so sad. I see people unfolding their textbooks, and they are pretending they are in a business meeting, and I really feel sad. So I'm just trying to see if I can do something which is very non-traditional. So this is the model. There's a reason why, and I also owe a lot to JALT because I couldn't see any conference in the world hosting a session under business communication. So it will be, it's actually my great honor to share with people. Remember I mentioned this is actually a government funding project. So I was requested to do a Chinese reporting. It's not like a conference, reporting in Yilan where Androids was. 2 senior super professors were evaluating my work, and they were really upset. That's the comments I get, because they say, remember I have 2 activities which were not so effective, and they say they hope I can teach the same course again, make the other 2 activities very effective. Okay, so I'm not really happy with that sharing, because you are actually more like reporting to 2 supervisors or like super professors. Yeah, it was a horrible experience in the summer. I'm not doing it again because it's more like I'm having a baby. You took your baby to somewhere and people say your baby looks so ugly. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds like a wonderful course. I had much to learn from it, so I will contact you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
Michael?
Yes. I've actually subtitled myself as the BIZCOM. Let me introduce myself. I'm actually the publications chair of the JALT BIZCOM SIG. And as of yesterday, I'm the coordinator elect. So I'm going to be the coordinator of the BIZCOM SIG. So I'm very happy to hear your comment about, having a forum and a platform to actually do your presentation. And that's the whole reason I'm here, because you've entered your presentation under our umbrella. So I'm going to do a bit of a shameless plug in the sense of, if I can put it in the chat here. Oh, no, wrong one. I do have our website, which I would sort of invite attendees here. I can, there it is. If I, ask you guys to have a look at that sometime, but I do have a question. I'm just taking me a while to get there.
It's okay.
I think the idea of authenticity is very critical.
Yes.
And I think that that's a very valuable aspect of business communication lessons. And, often there are two parts. So, in our SIG, there are people who are actually teaching people, workers, they go to businesses, they're doing business courses, in businesses, like business training. And for me, I'm actually a university educator as well, and I teach business classes. And I think that aspect of authenticity is very critical. And I appreciate your struggles to sort of get authentic style content in the classes. And, I tell my students to, it's very important that these are the skills you'll be using in the future, but there's an abstraction. So it's like, well, I'm a student in your course getting a grade for this. Whereas in the future, it is very career oriented. So how can you sell, I guess this is my question, how can you sell the need for authenticity in the class to the students?
No, it's tough. Actually, I have to say, I think this is probably universally true, especially if you are offering an elective course. And things in Taiwan are getting a little bit more out of hand because you have to find hardworking ones. And normally, our system right now is coming down to a very imbalanced time. Students only need 128 credits before they can get their bachelor degree, 128. Normally, they can get all of them before they reach senior year. So the relation between the teacher and the students is kind of tricky. It's more like buying from the customers. And they will always like, oh, I have to say, I hate to say this, but a lot of people say this is more like a consumerism. Students are shopping around. So oftentimes we need 10 people to start a course. And the first 2 weeks before the add and drop, I only got like 8, 7. So depending on how you are going to balance these two. And from time to time, I will have my course closed. So I don't know what I should sell. Are you going to sell for an easier course? Okay, you come get this one, not much work, you get good grade. Okay, and I could be that. I mean, when I first started teaching here, but right now for authenticity, I think some students who are really devoted and they really know their needs for the job market will actually come. And I have to say all the situations that I set up, okay, especially everything that I call mock interviews or mock everything, was quite scary, even for myself. And then I try to tell them it's always the last semester before they start looking for a job. So it's more like 2 months or 1 month later, you will be doing the same thing. And I think
sorry,
that sales, yes.
I'm gonna have to stop you there. We're at
okay.
we're at the time. Yeah. But thank you very much for your presentation. There was a lot to learn. Yeah, your experience was very interesting. Just hearing all that's involved, the funding and everything was really it was really interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So sorry, Andres, if I can make a last comment. Tim,
sure, of course.
Could you please email me, because I'd be interested to connect with
Sure.
you.
I just bookmark you the website you just sent us. Okay, yeah. Michael, appreciate. I mean, the first time, like I say, I really enjoy having conversations with scholars in this field. Okay, it's my honor.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, thank everyone for coming. So please visit the educational materials exhibit. There's many other things available on the JALT website, many other interesting presentations today. So please shop around and don't be a stranger. So everyone, again, thank you very much, and see you again later. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Tim. I'm gonna end the recording.